Welcome to ArtSpeak University. Today we're talking about imperfect excellence. That is the fifth core value here at ArtSpeak, and those build on each other. We start with this is about people. That's foundational. That's where we start. And again, that's the people that we're trying to reach, the people out there. That's the people that we get to partner with in order to reach them. For us, that's our clients. For you, that might be whoever it is that you partner with in your organization. And then we are people too. This team is made out of people. I am a people. And that is important too. In fact, we believe that we have to take care of our people so that we can partner well with our partners in order to reach people. So we go on from there, and core value number 2 is gratitude is our operating system. We have learned that gratitude is one of the most powerful tools we have to help us get into the empathetic mindset, to help us get into a creative mindset, to help us work together better as a team. And so we start every meeting with gratitude in order to put ourselves in the right mindset to work together, to be creative, and to reach people. Third, empathetic honesty. We're essentially a communications company. And so we're helping the church communicate with the world, with people, with the outside, with each other, within itself. And we have learned that empathy is the foundation for all effective communication. Doing the hard work to do the best we can to understand how the other person thinks and feels, their hopes and fears and dreams, and to understand their point of view, their perspective. Only then can we effectively communicate in ways that actually cross the divide between us and land in their heart. Fourth, confident humility. Confidence says, I know that I have value. Humility says, I know that everyone else does too. And so in every circumstance, we're going to add value. We're going to add the value that we know that we have, but we're also ready to listen to the value that we know is in every other person, knowing that we don't have the whole answer. We may have only a part. And that brings us to today. Today, we're talking about imperfect excellence. Now, a lot of organizations have excellence as a core value, and that almost makes me want to discard the word. But I think it's important, and I think it's important to pair it with this word perfect, imperfect excellence. And I'm going to start with a number. The number is 299,792,458 meters per second. That is perfect speed. That's the speed of light. And I love to nerd out about physics and theoretical physics and astronomy and all of that. Not that I understand it all, but I love trying to wrap my head around it. And the amazing thing to me about the speed of light is this paradox in that the faster you go, the closer you get to going the speed of light, the more you weigh. Your mass actually increases as you approach the speed of light. And since the energy that you must expend to accelerate increases the more that your mass increases, it means that you're never going to be able to get to the speed of light. It's going to be impossible, to the chagrin of all of us science fiction fans. You can't go the speed of light. The energy required becomes infinite at some point. And the thing about it is, that's also true of perfection. Now, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I don't know how well I'm recovering, but I'm trying to recover. And I've learned that when I'm working on a project, I have this idea in my head that there is a perfect solution. There is a perfect answer to whatever question I'm working on. Maybe that comes from the fact that I'm the son of a math teacher. And in math, there is blessedly a right answer to most questions. But life's not like that. And if you are in a creative profession, creativity's not like that. And what I found is that it follows the same trajectory. That when I'm working on a project and I'm trying to push it to that next level, I keep working on it, the energy required, the time required, as I approach some theoretical, idealized perfection, it becomes infinite. You can't get there. Now, the blessing here that I want you to take away from this is that not only is perfection impossible, it doesn't exist. There is no perfect. Now, see, that quest for perfection, that's about us. That's about us. When we're trying to get to that perfect level, it's because we're either proud of our work or more likely we're insecure. I know that I felt this especially early in my creative career, my design career. I knew that I had not studied design. I'd taken 2 classes in high school on graphic design, and that was the beginning and end of my formal education on design. And so every time I was going to design something for a client, here I'm getting paid to do this, and yet I had this idea that all the real designers out there who actually went to school for this were somehow light years beyond where I was. And so I would work and keep tweaking on these projects to try to get them to some idealized perfection. And often I would find that that last half of the work that I put into it didn't really get me anywhere. That I could have stopped about halfway and I would have been better off maybe just checking with the client and showing them, here's where I'm at. What do you think? And I would have ended up with a better result if I'd been able to and willing to collaborate on that level. But because I didn't want to show them until it was perfect, I wasted so many hours early in my design career. And that perfectionism wasn't about them. It wasn't about the project we were working on. It wasn't about the purpose of this project. It was about me. It was about my insecurity, my pride. So imperfect excellence. That's where this excellence comes in. Because excellence is about someone else. Excellence is about serving someone else. Here's the beauty. There is no such thing as perfect in creativity. There is no one right answer. We're all imperfect, and that's okay. But you may be thinking, okay, well, I've read the Bible, and there's scriptures out there, scripture like, be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Okay, but we're dealing with a shift in several cultures here. And that Greek word is from a word, teleos, which it comes from this idea of the end of something. That it's reached its purpose. It's reached its fulfillment. And so what are we asked to do? We're asked to live out our purpose. We're asked to fulfill a purpose. Not perfection in a sense of without flaw or could never be improved upon. Perfection in the sense of we did what we were called to do. We fulfilled the purpose we were called to. And so what is the goal here? It's not this idea that we've found the final answer, we've reached perfection, there's nothing left to be improved. It's, are we doing what we are meant to be doing? Are we fulfilling the purpose? Are we reaching excellence? Are we serving someone else with this? I think the other beauty in this is that I used to have this idea that, again, that there was one right answer in life. Like God had a idealized life for me, and that the goal was to get as close to that perfect life as possible. And every time I might mess up or every time I failed to get the right answer, I was deviating more and more from that perfect idea. And I took that into my creativity as well, I think, subconsciously, thinking that with every project that I was on, that there was some kind of idealized, perfect answer to this problem that God had in his mind. And I had to try and guess and figure out what God had in mind. But I think God actually creating us in the image of God. God is a creator, and he created us to be creators. And he gives us the freedom to be creators, to exercise that creativity and come up with our own creative solutions. They don't have to be exactly what God would have done in that situation. In fact, I think God delights in seeing us create according to his purpose. And so I hope that gives you some freedom, creative, that the creativity in you, I think, is purposed by God. That you can come up with your own beautiful, creative, interesting, novel solutions to problems, and that God delights in that. All right, but we do have to hit excellence. So remember, perfectionism is about us. Perfect is about us. Excellence is about serving someone else. And for us here at ArtSpeak, we work with the church. We're trying to help the church reach people. And that is no easy task. In part because the church has been around for a couple thousand years now. And some of that history is amazing and beautiful. And there's so many incredible stories of the church at work in the world, being the hands and feet of God and showing the love of God to the world, reaching people. But if you paid attention in history class, there's also been some things that the church didn't get right. In fact, there's been some downright terrible things that the church has done in the world. And the people out there that we're trying to reach, they know that. They're not unfamiliar with that history. And they have histories of their own. The people out there that, in our culture at least, in the United States, I don't think anyone is ignorant of the church. They know that the church exists, and they have some idea. At least they feel like they have some idea of the message that the church is trying to communicate. And for the people who are not in church right now, there is a reason. They have decided not to be in church. And so if we're going to reach them, we have to change their mind. So let me dig into a little bit of neuroscience here. And just like theoretical physics, I love to nerd out on these things. Not that I actually understand it all, but I think it's fascinating. And the neuroscience is critical for our work as communicators of the gospel, using all of these creative tools. What are we interacting with? We're interacting with people's minds and hearts, but you got to get through the mind first. In fact, that's what this graphic is here for. Because the truth is, if we're out there in the marketing context, where we're engaging on social media or out there in the world, or really any context in which we're trying to communicate to lots of people, we're in competition. There are lots of other organizations out there that are trying to communicate with the same people that we're trying to communicate to. And in fact, the number that gets used the most often is 5,000. 5,000 marketing messages per day. That is so many. And it may seem like an exaggeration until you start to think about all the places where you get marketing messages. In your emails, in your social media feeds, in the billboards, in the ads that come on before YouTube videos, and the notifications on your phone, and everything that you do everywhere. If there is an opportunity for a marketer to put a message in front of you, they will and they do. And it would be overwhelming. It would be overwhelming if you didn't have a built-in supercomputer. See, your brain has two parts that we could talk about. There's your conscious brain. That's the part that you identify as you. But there's also your subconscious brain. And your subconscious brain is immensely powerful. it calculates something like 400 million bits of information per second. It takes a supercomputer 17 minutes to simulate the brain activity of your subconscious mind that happens in 1 second. So that's good news. That's great. You have a supercomputer that's helping you process the world. You need it. Unfortunately, you have a conscious brain. Well, fortunately, it's good. It's a good thing that you have it. But it can only process 40 bits per second. 400 million over here in your subconscious brain, 40 in your conscious brain. What that means is that your brain, your subconscious brain, has to do a lot of work for you, filtering out all of the noise of the world, so that your conscious brain only has to deal with the stuff that that actually matters, stuff that is actually relevant to your life right now. And so that's the trick. When you're trying to talk to someone else, anyone else, you're in competition with everybody else that's trying to get in front of their eyeballs. Because that's step number one. You have to, if you're going to reach them, you're going to have to be seen. And then after having been seen, that's where you actually hit the retinas. The retinas have received that information. They're getting in there. There's tricks to that marketers have to figure out the best ways to get their messages in front of people wherever they are. And so there's a whole science and art to that. But then, okay, that's reached the subconscious brain. It's gone to what's called the RAS, the reticular activating system. This is the part of your brain whose job it is to decide what gets passed on to your conscious brain. And what is it looking for? It is looking for things that it knows that you need and care about. So if you're not shopping for, I don't know, orange juice, if you're not hungry for orange juice, you would see an ad for orange juice, but you wouldn't remember that you saw an ad for orange juice. If, however, you were thirsty or hungry, now all of a sudden the RAS knows I'm looking for food right now. And now that's when you see those burger ads, and oh man, you might have driven past that billboard with a burger on it 1,000 times, but right now you're hungry and you've noticed it. So now you're relevant. Now you have to convince them that this is in fact what they want right now. This is relevant to their life. Now they're going to spend a few moments of their conscious brain's activity processing what you told them. And if they decide that, yeah, I understand it, it's relevant to me, now you've reached their brain and hopefully their heart. But this is why we have to hit excellence, because that process doesn't happen by accident. In fact, we have to do the hard work. One, to understand, what are they hoping for? What do they know that they need? We may have something that we know that they need, but if they don't know that they need it yet, we have to translate this message into something that they know that they want and need before we can start talking to them. And we have to do that better than all of the other messages that are bombarding their retinas and their eardrums all day long. So the bar is high. We do have to hit excellence. So, imperfect excellence. We have to get over our own perfectionism. We have to realize that the goal here is not to prove our own skill in a process, but to fulfill a call, fulfill a purpose, and serve someone else in the process. And for us at ArtSpeak, yes, we're working on something that's going to be effective at reaching people out there. We also want to serve our clients well in the process. And so that means often we need to, if there's a deadline here that's relevant, we need to get it done by the deadline. If there's an important time frame or important goal, we have to make sure that we're doing that. We have to make sure that this becomes a great experience for our clients. And so, did our client enjoy the process? Did they feel a sense of partnership? Did we accomplish their goal? we may have made the most amazing artwork or the most amazing creative that we've ever made, and we're excited to put that in our dribble or our portfolio. But if it didn't accomplish the client's goal, guys, we didn't get there. We didn't do it. And so those are baselines for excellence. Also, was it a great experience for the team? Did we work together well there? Did we support each other? Did we challenge and enable each other to grow? Did we give each other feedback well? Because we might end up in a great product. We might actually serve the client well. But if we frustrated each other, if we stressed each other out, if we're get to the end of that and we've damaged relationships, well, that's not excellence either. And so again, this is about people. It's about the people out there we're trying to reach. It's about the people that we get to partner with, and it's about this team. It's about each other. It's about us. And so we need to balance those concerns. Finally, what about you? What was your experience in this project? Did you learn something new? Are you proud of your work at the end of the day? And did you grow? I think if we're asking those questions, then every time, one, we're going to get to excellence, and two, we're going to increase that excellence next time around. Those are questions I'm going to leave you with today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for engaging with us, and we'll see you next time.